Reza, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. A bitch is happy to be back.
I don't even know where to begin because this season is insane.
Beyond.
It makes me wonder, after a season like season 8, because, you know, I'm in meetings where producers sort of fill us in on what happens, and fans can sort of get a taste of what's going to happen from the super tease. But it's so explosive. What do you do once filming has ended? Do you just like take a minute to decompress from this group?
First of all, I didn't need a minute to decompress after season 8. I needed a month to decompress. I am not only a Bravo celebrity, but I'm a huge Bravo-holic. I've seen every season of every Housewives franchise. I watch almost every single show on Bravo. And I can say my unbiased opinion is that this season will be the most explosive season of any Bravo show in history. It's more dramatic than Teresa's table flipping. It's more dramatic than Bethany Frankel and Jill Zarin's fallout. It is next level nuclear, and it's just an action-packed season. Lots of fun, lots of tears, lots of drama. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I have to agree with you. I've seen a fair bit, and it's just like, what? Every episode.
Totally.
Well, let's start with this premiere episode where this sort of bomb is dropped on you at your housewarming party. Now that you've watched the episode, do you think Destiny handled it correctly?
Hindsight is 20/20, and I, looking back, wish that Destiny had hit me up, taken me to coffee, sat me down for lunch, invited me for a drink, and said, "Listen, bitch, there's some shit going down. I just want to fill you in. I'm looking out for you. I'm worried about you." And not use the housewarming party, because everyone knows from season 7 that Adam and I were working on our house. It took us a year. We took it down to the studs. We literally tore half the house off. We spent a fortune. It was a little dream come true for us. And I really wanted the housewarming party to be a night to celebrate with family and friends. And it turned out to be the night of all hell. And literally, it was the first domino in a series of dominoes that led to the demise of my friendship with MJ. And, you know, I don't even know that Destiny understood the gravity of what she was involved in.
But you think MJ did?
MJ 100% did, and I think that the audience, as they watch the season play out, will be able to form their own opinion of what happened. The crazy thing now is it doesn't even matter, because we're all hurt. We're all in a state of loss. Everyone lost. It was just a huge situation that, in my mind, could have potentially been avoided had everyone, including myself, handled it differently. I know it sounds super cryptic. I don't want to give a lot away because it's so crazy and unbelievable. And I couldn't even believe it while it was happening. It was like being an FBI agent and trying to put puzzle pieces together and figure out what was going on in my life. I was losing my mind.
Yeah. But what would her motivation be to kind of go after your relationship? Like, did something happen between season 7 and season 8 that we didn't know about? Or do you think it was maybe just like she thought it would make, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, like it would blow over?
I think it was twofold. I honestly think that at times, MJ doesn't realize that there are people and situations that come into your life, and you have to protect the people you care about from those situations. MJ just assumes, oh, Reza's strong, he can handle this, or oh, Reza will nip that in the bud. But she had been nurturing something and watering it and taking care of a seed that literally led to the demise of our relationship. And my expectation was that she would be like, you know what? Reza's my best friend. I'm putting an end to this now, as opposed to her thinking that it's something that I would be able to just cut off at the pass.
Yeah. When Destiny and Mike sit you down at the housewarming and tell you about this rumor, what immediately went through your mind?
I love that you're asking me this question because it was twofold. Initially, I was thinking, wait, did Adam cheat on me? Is Adam having an affair? And then in the end, Destiny put a cherry on the sundae and she said, but you need to talk to MJ. And as soon as she said that, it was like, wait a minute. Why would I need to talk to MJ about a potential rumor regarding Adam having an affair? What does that have to do with MJ? And as I started to peel the onion away and get to the core, I was like, oh my God, this is worse than Adam having an affair. I wish Adam had played naked Jenga. That would have been the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I wish Adam had played naked Jenga.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The good news is at the party, you and Gigi sort of make up. How are you guys today?
This is going to sound crazy. If you had told me 5 years ago or at Asa's event where she literally ran and almost attacked me, that in a few years from now, Gigi would be my rock and Gigi would be the only castmate after Tommy came and vandalized our home to say, listen, I know you're afraid. You are packing bags and coming to my house for a week, and I'm going to take care of you guys.
Wow.
Gigi stepped up in a way that I had never expected. I had never seen. It brought tears to my eyes, and I love and adore her so much that she really made one of the most difficult times in my life and my marriage with Adam a little bit easier. I owe her a lot.
Yeah. Do you feel like she's already changing with this new baby almost here?
1,000%. You hit it right on the head. She has completely changed herself. She's been doing work behind the scenes that she hadn't been telling us all about, dealing with her anger management, dealing with a lot of issues to get to a better place where not only emotionally and spiritually, but physically, she'd be in a place to welcome a baby. And I can't wait to be there for her and try to reciprocate a little bit of how great of a friend she was to me in one of the darkest times of my life.
Yeah, that's so sweet to hear.
Yeah, really. Like, I'm all about giving props when props are due, and she really, really deserves it.
Yeah. I feel like Mike came into the season too sort of in a different place. Like he's sort of wifed up and he's excited to be a stepdad. What was your reaction to that?
It's really nice to see Mike in a relationship that actually makes sense with someone who he's compatible with someone who clearly loves him and he loves back. Very different than any relationship that we have seen in the past. And the fact that Paulina brings kids to the equation is a beautiful thing because it has transformed Mike. And it's made him softer, gentler, and hopefully more dedicated to the relationship. I think it's a beautiful thing because, you know, it's no secret that he cheated on his ex-wife and they ended up getting a divorce. I think that because she has kids, he's more invested in the relationship. It's not just doing her dirty. It would be doing the kids who love and adore him as well dirty. So he's more, not more, it seems like he's all in. And I don't feel like he's willing to fold his hand. I feel like he's going to see this thing through.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for both of them.
Well, on the topic of kids, Adam sort of, says to you in the premiere, like, nah, I'm not really interested in kids right now. But he is a surrogate to butterflies, which I find very sweet.
He is a surrogate to butterflies. He is Mother Earth. He composts everything. He's got my mother who's in her 70s composting. He's got my sister composting. And then they give us their compost to add to our pile. He's such a great guy. He's really dedicated to getting to the next level in his career. And it's ironic that he said to me that he wasn't ready because obviously as things started to go downhill with MJ and I was in no place emotionally or mentally to even consider having kids.
Where are you guys now?
We are rising from the ashes of, you know, the demise of the Reza and MJ relationship. We are a stronger couple. We're communicating better. If there is a bright side to MJ and I falling out, it's that Adam and I were forced to communicate a lot more. MJ was my go-to. First phone call of the day, first text message of the day, calling multiple times. She would give me advice. I would talk to her about my relationship, as would Adam. And so she was like our go-to person. And when you take that away, there's such a void. And I still needed that. And luckily, because of therapy and having a husband who really wants communication, it's forced me to open up a lot more and share with him a lot more. And so it's brought us a lot closer. And I think that in the very near future, we will start entertaining the idea of starting our family. I realized that the first interaction I would have with her would be at the Watch What Happens Live BravoCon extravaganza. And we were all backstage at the theater, and I walked up to her and I said, "Hi, MJ, it's nice to see you." And I had just gotten my teeth done. I was on cloud 9, and she looked at me and said, "It's nice to see me, is it? Is it really?" And I was like, okay, not the time, not the place. And I turned around and I walked away. And the irony is later, after we were seated in the audience, like in the bleachers on stage, Mike turned to me and said, "She's the one that started all this shit, and now she doesn't want to be friends." And I looked at him and I went,
Is all of her anger focused on you, or is it everyone at this point?
I don't think it's focused on everyone at this point. I think she definitely has a lot of anger towards me. And the funny thing is, and it's not funny actually, the sad thing is, you know, she was pregnant. She was going through something. And as it turns out, you're going to see that she didn't have the love and support when she needed it. And I'm not going to say too much more on that, but it wasn't just from me, because I felt some sort of way. I felt like something was going on. I couldn't put my finger on it, but by the end of the season, I do put my finger on it. But as you see, you know, everything play out, you'll see that, wait a minute, why wasn't everyone else stepping up? Were other people sensing something as well? And you'll be able to follow that too. So to answer your question, it's such like, I can't even believe it. I feel like it's a Dateline exclusive where people are like, you know, this kind of thing never happens in our town. Like, I never thought it would happen to me. Like, you know, I feel like, God forbid, I'm, you know, talking about a murdered relative. Like, I'm in disbelief. I can't believe this happens to other people in other places. It doesn't happen to me and MJ. But it did.
Yeah. Without getting into specifics or giving anything away, is there anything you want to tell fans ahead of time? Like, is there any part that you felt you played in the demise of this friendship?
Of course. You know, a fan reached out to me on Instagram and said, "Would you do anything differently?" And my answer was, I would do everything differently because I know what the outcome is. And I hate the outcome. So if I could do things over again, would I do what I did? Absolutely not. I would do everything differently in the hopes that I wouldn't lose MJ as a friend. And I did my best when I realized something was amiss to remove myself from the equation. And because of one of my friends who thought he or she might know better, I was put in a situation to prematurely deal with everything. And that led to the explosion and a domino effect, which then led to Tommy showing up at our house and calling me and threatening my life and calling the police and restraining orders. And then it just got so big and there were so many other things to deal with that our friendship became irrelevant to both of us, because I had a husband who was afraid. He felt like, you know, could Tommy show up again with a baseball bat or a knife or a gun? And we got very scared and we started to just want to feel safe and secure in our own home. And our friendship wasn't a priority anymore. And the bigger things got, the less focus there was on repairing the friendship and the more focus there was on dealing with the fallout of everything.
Well, I feel like people are going to watch this season and still, no matter what route that you guys get back together, do you think?
Obviously, my route is that we get back together. My prayer is that we get back together. I pray nightly that God heals my heart further, heals Adam's heart, because Adam is not in a place where he wants to have a relationship with MJ or Tommy or Vita. And I don't know that I'm ready right now. I'm still very hurt. I feel very betrayed. But it's getting a lot better. I used to be very angry, and I'm not angry anymore. I'm just sad, and I feel a sense of loss. And my prayer is that, you know, God or whatever higher power they believe in, heal MJ and Tommy to a place where after the season airs and they see everything I said when I was angry and in the moment, because the crazy part is the cameras were there in real time. So you got my raw emotion in the moment. And I don't feel that anger anymore. I just feel love and loss. And I hope that because of time, because, you know, they're new parents, that somehow their hearts are healed. And after the season airs, after the reunion, we can start a dialogue about starting from a new, you know, ground zero and building up from there.
I'm going to pray for that too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And it's not all bad. I want to stress that the season has...
No, of course. You guys are hilarious.
A lot of fun, a lot of joy, and there's a shift in relationships, but there's a lot of beautiful moments as well.
Guys, we are here with MJ from Shahs of Sunset. Hey, MJ, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So ahead of this season, with everything that happened last year, were you nervous at all for the season to start?
I'm sure I had a lot of apprehension, anxiety, hurt, disappointment, so many feelings, and not just mine, but also Tommy, who is a super tough guy who always culturally has to keep a stiff upper lip and a, you know, a strong face. But, you know, we have a beautiful baby to focus on the positive, and that is, you know, why I have this dichotomy that I live in constantly, where you've got this beautiful blessing and then you've got this ugly pain.
Yeah.
For BS.
Right.
Am I supposed to cuss? Do you encourage?
You can cuss. Oh, please. Just be yourself.
I mean, it was like bullshit. Total effing bullshit.
Yeah. Do you think having the cameras with you through the whole process helped the experience or kind of made it a little more complicated?
It definitely made it harder. First of all, not being there when everyone else was hanging out, spending time talking about what was unfolding, and a lot of people being very dishonest and not honorable in their versions of a story. Everyone seemed to want to like just double down on something that dragged me. And instead of me being around, I was, you know, either recovering in the hospital or caring for a newborn and staying really focused on what I was doing, thinking, you know what, I am going to give all of my friends the benefit of the doubt. It didn't turn out that way at all.
Yeah.
And no, you're probably the most vulnerable when you have a baby.
Of course. Well, before we get into all of the drama with Reza and everybody, you know, your pregnancy had some really scary complications. So what was that experience like, and where did you pull support from to kind of get through that?
The first thing was I had a really strong sense of hopeful optimism. My dad is going to protect me. This is meant to be this incompetent cervix is not as big as what we're in God's hands to have a baby. Like if you're meant to have a baby, you'll have it even if there was an issue during your pregnancy. So that was the first one, which put me on my bed rest.
Yeah.
And then toward the end of the pregnancy, there was something called cholestasis, can cause a sudden stillbirth when you're almost at the finish line. And then the challenging labor and delivery. I mean, I hope to go on and talk about my story and share it so that other women will be inspired, not scared.
Right.
You know, and so it was obviously worth it. None of it did I know it was ahead of me. But I just hung out. My husband was amazing. He was the #1 support system. And the doctors were great. The medical staff was great. And then my dad, I feel like he was just around taking care of us.
Right. What advice would you give women who are going through something similar? Is it just kind of keeping that positive attitude and just putting the faith where it belongs?
My advice is one thing and one thing only. Be positive, be optimistic, and then be positive and be optimistic. Keep it light, keep smiling, keep laughing, relax. Do not stress out. None of it is productive. And that is my #1 rock solid piece of advice.
Yeah. Well, I will say, even watching the footage back, you know, they're talking in the shows about how scary it is and everything that you're going through, but you do maintain sort of a lightness that I think we didn't expect to see from someone who's going through something like that. So, I mean, you did a great job about keeping that positivity.
I got it from my papa.
Yeah.
Yes.
The rumors that start about Adam, you know, did you have animosity towards Destiny because she sort of was like, you need to ask Mercedes about that?
I don't mind that she said that because I understand that she sees a hierarchy within the group of us, and I appreciate that Destiny acknowledges a hierarchy of a longstanding relationship.
Yeah.
What happens and what I hear happens from Nima is that she lies and she drags, and then as you watch the season unfold, I will be seeing all of this as for the first time. There's a lot that I don't know. And again, I wasn't there. I wasn't there not only not to defend myself, to speak my own side of a story, but also to then see an opportunity for them to lie on my behalf just to cover their own ass. So I don't like what she does. I'm very, very, very hurt by Destiny.
Have you had a chance to confront her or Allie for everything that they were saying?
You will definitely see that in the season.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Rewatching the first episode, were you surprised at the way that Reza reacted to that information or alleged information?
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about that very thing for every day since it happened.
Okay.
His reaction, I just thought, like, how could you react that way? I mean, well, there's more to it, right? So I know actually, let me just bring this, let me circle back and rein this back into your actual question. When I watched, I thought Reza handled himself pretty well because he got this information and then he waited for everyone to clear out, and then he asked Adam point blank. Adam kind of had like a kind of a guilty look on his face, and I think Reza handled himself well. I think that what we see in the preview for the next episode, I don't think that Reza handled himself well. But I mean, if I were to be in a situation where someone told me that my husband might have been unfaithful, I would just take it up with my husband. I probably wouldn't involve anyone else in it.
Right. No, that's true. I mean, we see his reaction in the following episode where he, you know, is out at lunch and he flips out and he throws the water. And then shortly thereafter, he calls you. But at this point, you're in the ICU.
Yes, I am.
So he calls and he has basically a very confrontational, you know, attitude towards you. So what was going through your head in that moment?
I was like, Reza, what are you talking about?
Right. You're like I have other things to worry about.
No, but also, I also dealt with him at that moment. I was like, I actually constituted that with an answer. I was like, come on. Like, what are you talking about? Really?
Yeah.
Are you seriously asking me these questions? Like, have I ever compromised your, you know, the integrity of our friendship? Come on. And show up, come over here. I'm still under anesthesia. You have nothing to worry about. Obviously, I did not do that. And then no.
Well, that was the other thing. He didn't show up. He didn't even come through to see you when you were in the ICU and through everything that you went through. So how did that make you feel without him being there?
I was like kind of spinning between two things. I had to get snuck out of ICU for 35 minutes to see my son in the nursery, and then like got like snuck back in. And then on the other hand, I'm thinking like, okay, well, if he didn't come right now, maybe he'll come later. And then a day passes and you're like, I'm still kind of focused on my son. And then 3 days pass, and then I was like, God damn it, like this is embarrassing. You know, Tommy's best man has flown here from New York 3 days ago and stayed for 2 whole weeks with us. Didn't even go to a hotel, stayed right next to us. So I started to compare it to Tommy's friend, Johnny, and that really started to like make me feel like, what the heck is the point of having a 30-year-long relationship, friendship, if you're not going to show up for each other and give each other some, you know, love, support that you well deserve.
Of course, we'll show up for each other in a situation where you really need that too.
Absolutely. Tommy needed it, you guys.
Yeah.
Tommy needed that. That's why Tommy, while he was in the dark, not knowing what was going to happen, reached out to Reza. Tommy needed Reza.
Yeah.
Reza never, I don't think, ever stopped to think that that is what Tommy was doing.
Right. That's true. I mean, I didn't even think of that perspective either. So you and Reza saw each other at BravoCon, and that was the first time you had seen each other in probably quite some time.
So awkward.
What was that interaction like?
It was painful. It was awkward. It was an out-of-body experience. It felt so weird to me. I was like kind of grossed out by him. He had this big, weird, glassy smile across his face, and I wanted to like slap him. Be like, stop acting like a weirdo, dude.
Well, it was at the Watch What Happens Live, right? The biggest Watch What Happens Live ever?
Yes.
So did you at least have fun outside of running into Reza?
Yes, I had a great time
Okay,
with
good.
our fans, interacting with the people who, you know, went through so much trouble to meet us.
Yeah. Reza was here not too long ago, and he did say that he prays for your friendship to be repaired. So do you have a similar feeling? Do you think that there's hope?
Okay, this is not the first time that someone has asked me this question, but in this moment, I don't feel a lot of compassion for that question, for him saying that, because his behavior does not support that. I think that he's turning something on for you guys that he's not showing me behind the scenes, and I don't appreciate that.
Right. I think it's actions speak louder than words.
Yeah,
in
it's
lot
like a
of
victim
cases.
role or some kind of game.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, I know we're going to see this season the actual kind of culmination of what goes down.
Yeah.
Did you expect it to sort of escalate to that point?
Heck no.
Right.
Of course not.
Yeah.
You know, coming to break the ice, see my friends, squash it in 5 minutes, and start like embracing each other and planning, you know, Golnessa's baby shower. That's kind of where I was at.
Yeah. Did you expect Tommy to react the way he did?
No, I did not.
What was your reaction to that?
Heartbreak. I was just like, wow, this is just getting like crazier, and it's escalating.
Yeah.
And as it did.
Well, let's lighten things up a little bit.
Okay, please.
You're like, yeah, let's do that. So we know Gigi is becoming a mother.
Yay.
So have you been able to sort of give her advice? What advice have you given her?
I don't want to give someone advice who is doing something so different from me.
Fair.
And I want to just be very respectful and supportive. I sent her the giving tree, and, you know, that always makes me cry. It always reminds me of my dad. She also has an extremely selfless dad. So I was like, kind of, and we're also not as close as I hope that we will be someday soon. So I kind of like send her a nice message. Then I'm like, I know you probably need space, and she's always really responsive, and I really appreciate that about her. So she's going to teach and inspire a lot of women to do motherhood the way that she's doing it, and
Yeah.
I'm really into that for her.
What is one thing that you've learned since becoming a mother? What's the biggest thing you've learned?
You don't think about yourself at all. Like,
Yeah.
if I drink enough water in one day, that's a huge win. If I run a brush through my hair or past my teeth, I don't know. It's like you're all about baby, and you're okay with that because you want to be all about the baby. So that's surprising, because I didn't think that I was going to be so happy to be so selfless every single day. It's like we were almost cornering a year in, and I'm like, all right, fine, maybe I'll do something good for myself.
Yeah.
Here and there.
How has the baby changed your relationship?
Well, Tommy and I do see a marriage counselor.
Okay.
And it's amazing, because people tell us have a date night, and we look at each other like, we don't really feel like we need a date night yet. So when you sit down with someone who's so talented at like helping the two of us communicate, she is so instrumental in teaching us both to have compassion for each other and truly put ourselves in each other's shoes. And we drive home and we start talking about the session. That to me is like such a gift, because he says to me, I love you even more because you gave me him, and I love him so much, so I love you more. And I think to myself, like, this is my dream.
Yeah.
This is all I ever dreamed of when I thought I was being unrealistic about what I could actually have in life, in a husband and a child.
But to your point, too, about going to see a marriage counselor, it does take a lot of work and putting in the effort.
Yes.
So it's good to see that.
We gain weight, we lose weight, we neglect ourselves. We have one good day at the gym, then we feel fat again, then we feel, exhausted, and we're delirious, and we're anxious, and we're new at everything. And then he's doing something different, and then, he's such a good dad too. So of course it's going to be a little complicated.
Yeah. Who of your cast members do you trust the most to babysit?
Mike and Shervin.
Okay.
Mike and Shervin.
Who do you trust the least?
I don't trust anybody else.
We'll leave it at that.
A country mile.
If anyone on the cast is next, who would it be to get married?
Okay, so Mike is going to get married to Paulina, right? Hopefully.
I
That's
hope
kind
so.
of the direction that they're talking about tattooing the date. Did you see that in the episode last week?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was so funny because you saw like Nima and Shervin and Mona's reaction to that.
Yeah.
So they should get married. And then maybe when Golnessa has like a mommy and me class, she might meet her husband.
Ooh.
And then she might become like an instant stepmom. And then she'll get married.
Oh, I like that prediction.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's
I hope
pretty
it
good.
happens.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Paulina? Because we're just meeting her for the first time, so I'm very curious.
She's really cool. First of all, she's amazing. She's an amazing mother. She has incredible style. Now, because she has two siblings that I think are two brothers, she has become a little bit of like a black sheep. She does whatever she wants. She's very open-minded. She's very liberal. She's got a strong will. She is just the perfect yin or yang to Mike's
Right.
yin or yang.
Yeah. I think that's well said. I know it's kind of far in the future, but do you have any expectations for what's going to happen at the reunion this season?
Honey, I wish the reunion was tomorrow morning. I am so ready. I want to hear what everyone has to say for themselves.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up with something else positive. International Women's Day is coming up. So can you share with us who in your life, which female has been a big role model for you?
I will say today my current is Lizzo. Because, yes, I knew I did the body positivity and the body confidence thing maybe 6 or 7 or 10 years ago, but I love seeing the way that she's doing it. And she's, of course, got this beautiful talent as well. So she's so prolific. I really think that she's beautiful, brave, and bold and talented, and she's got that swag. So I love seeing that all the time, all day long.
That's awesome.
Listening
I couldn't agree
to her
more.
lyrics, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, MJ, for coming in. It was great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I wish you had baby Shans.
I know. Next time.
Next time.